Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, I am on a mission to give back to you guys and girls as much as I possibly can. And so I did a video a couple of days ago saying, tell me what your number one struggles are, and I will answer them in a video. Let's jump straight into this one from a username that I am not even going to begin to read out, who says, I honestly just feel insecure about life and how I live it. My friend, I will start off by saying that is how the vast majority of human beings feel. It's just that a lot of people are a little bit better or are very good at hiding it. And so the fact that you're able to be real and honest with us and tell us that you're insecure, tell us that you're not sure if you're living life, a correct way, which is basically what you're saying here. That shows incredible courage, man. So I want to just start out by saying that a lot of people feel exactly the way that you feel. I promise that it's okay to feel like that. And hopefully I can give you a little bit more clarity and we'll start, giving you some tools to start figuring out who you want to be and how you want to live your life. But you say, I'm a college dropout. Welcome to the club, my brother. So am I. I dropped out of college because I was depressed and suicidal. I then went to prison about a year later. I've talked about that on this channel. So, hey, if you're not in prison yet, you're doing better than I was at your age, my friend. I became an older brother like 2 years ago. Fuck, that's amazing, dude. Congratulations. That's awesome. And I feel like I'm not going to be able to help him in any kind of way. Okay, let's dive straight into that right now. Why don't you get out a piece of paper, or you can do it on your computer, and write down 50 things that you can offer your younger brother, especially as he starts to grow older. 50 things that you have to offer, 50 ways in which you could make his life a little bit better, 50 things you could do for him, 50 ways you could be there for him, 50 things you could do. Just write a list of 50 things that you have to offer. I will start offering you some right now. You could listen to him. There you go. That's one. You now have one thing on your list. You could give him some advice about what not to do. You're saying that you feel very lost and a little bit insecure. You've probably tried a whole bunch of stuff that didn't work out for you the way that you wanted it to, correct? I'm sure that's a very fair statement. You can teach him those things. You can save him a little bit of his own pain and stuff like that. So that's two things you can offer. You can tell him that you care about him, that you love him. That's something that you can offer. You can push him and motivate him and tell him, you're going to make it, brother. I believe in you. That's something you have to offer. So what I want you to do is keep coming up with ideas, and you can spend the next month, 6 months, or a year writing a list of 50 things that you have to offer your younger brother. But yeah, the statement of like, I feel like I'm not going to be able to help him in any kind of way, that's just patently not true, my brother, but you're not going to believe that until you go hunting for the evidence. So, like I said, get a piece of paper out or get your computer and go hunting for the evidence. Don't just believe me, I'm just some random fucking retard on the internet. It's got to come from you. So, start hunting for that evidence, start brainstorming ways in which you can be there for your younger brother or that you can help him, things that you have to offer. Right now, what you're saying is, I feel like I can't think of anything. So, start brainstorming and ask other people. You can ask for advice on this. You can read books. Google, how do I be there for a younger brother? Type into ChatGPT. Yo, ChatGPT, I don't have any fucking idea of how I can be there for my younger brother. Got any suggestions? Start asking other people that have brothers or younger brothers. Start asking parents. How do you be there for your kids? And then you just do the same thing for your younger brother. Start the research, basically. Start researching and brainstorming. But there's a lot you have to offer, my brother. It's just that you're feeling like you don't have a lot to offer. In other words, you're feeling like you're not good enough. You're feeling unworthy. But if you go hunting for evidence, you'll find plenty of it that you can help his life in many different ways. So you go on to say, I'm working on my social skills and my dating life. Good on you. That's amazing. And the progress I've seen with both are inconsistent. My beautiful friend, that is how it goes with every goal. What on earth makes you think that any of the progress that I've ever made in my life has been consistent? Fuck no, my brother. Consistency and consistency of results is something that you need to earn. You don't just wake up one day and have consistent progress. That's not how that works. Consistency is something that you build with practice. The way that every single one of my goals has looked is for the first few months or the first few weeks, it's just up and down. I'll make some progress, then it feels like I'm taking 10 steps back. It feels like I have no idea what I'm doing. It feels like, like I said, for every one step forward, it's like 10 steps back. And then over the next few months, I get a little bit more consistent, but I have days where I just avoid it and I procrastinate and I don't take action. And then I do take action, but the action doesn't work out. And then I get rejected, or I have some failures or mistakes, or I fall backwards, or I fall off the horse, so to speak. I get off track and then I have to get back on track and I don't have accountability and all of that kind of shit. That's what progress often looks like at the start. And so consistency is something that we build. Now, some things to help you with consistency: accountability, like getting other people to help you. Like, you've asked us for accountability, you've asked me for advice. That's amazing, really good job. But get some more accountability partners in your life, brother. Like, you're very welcome to come to my coaching program, or get some friends that want to work on their social skills in their dating life, or go out and meet people who are working on that. You could go to meetup.com and just go to a bunch of social events, and people there are also working on their social skills. That's why they're on Meetup. Go onto Bumble and go onto the friendship section. Like, Bumble has a friendship section. You can make friends through there and just literally screen for guys who are working on their social skills and their dating life. Like, literally in your first message, say, hey bro, I'm looking to build some friendships with some other bros that are working on their social skills, working on their dating life. You know, I'd love for us to push each other. We can be wingmen for each other. Is that something that you're up for? Does that resonate with what you're looking for? Copy paste that message to every single fucking guy that you match with on Bumble, and you'll make some amazing friends. I've made some really, really, really solid male friendships through Bumble. Guys that I'm still friends with like 4 years later at this point. And so you can find some really, really, really good friends there. You can also find some good friends through Meetup. My best friend that I've been friends with for like 10 or so years at this point, we met on Meetup. We just met in like a philosophy group. So that's a really good place to meet people. But yeah, man, like, progress is inconsistent at the start, or it can be inconsistent at the start. It doesn't have to be, but it often is. You know, for me, it just almost always has been. So that's kind of how it goes. But get some accountability partners that will help you. You can get a coach if you want to. Like I said, I'm very happy to have you in the coaching program, and then you would get incredibly fucking consistent results. Obviously, that's what you're paying for. But if you want to do it the free option, go on a forum and get people to keep you accountable there, or meet some friends and get them to keep you accountable. But yeah, it's much easier with other people. So you're going to say, overall, I just want more for myself. I'm just struggling finding out how, I guess you mean finding out what your main goals are. Okay, fair enough. I just feel lost. I have a vague idea on what I want to do. Okay, so you do have an idea on what you want to do. You're probably just telling yourself a story that you have no idea what you want to do, but you have a vague idea. So let's start teasing out a little bit more. You can brainstorm and say, okay, I have a vague idea. Your vague idea already is social skills and dating life. And so let's start slowly over the next few days, weeks, and months, teasing out a little bit more actual details. So the way that you do that, if you're completely lost and you have no idea to where to even begin coming up with a goal, is you ask yourself, what would be really cool to have? Like, would it be really cool to have a group of 5 friends that I hang out with twice a week and we're just there for each other and we push each other with our goals? If that sounds cool, then you can start reverse engineering that and working towards that. Or you might say, what would sound cool to me? Maybe having like a friends with benefits in my life, and she would add to my life and I would add to her life, and we'd explore each other's kinks, and it would just be a great time. Cool. Now start reverse engineering the steps that you would need to take to get to that point, and then you start taking baby steps towards that. So the question you ask yourself, what would be really cool to have, or what would be cool to have in my life? Another question that you can start asking yourself is, who is my ideal future self? Like, fantasize about who you imagine yourself being like 10 or 20 years from now. In other words, like the so-called perfect version of you. Who would that person be? What kind of social skills would that person have? What kind of dating life would that person have? Like, your ideal self, your version or your concept of what you think the ideal version of you might be. And you start working towards that. So it's just about sort of brainstorming and teasing out some of these ideas of what you want. Now, a lot of the time, you actually do know what you want. You're just telling yourself that you don't think you can do it. How do I know that? Because you go on to say, I'm insecure about that and lack of progress in life. I want to be a comic book artist. So you're kind of full of shit. Now, I'm saying this with love, my brother, but you're kind of full of shit when you say, like, you know, I don't know what my goals are. Fuck off. Yes, you do, my beautiful brother. You want to be a comic book artist. That's an incredible goal. That's such a beautiful goal. You also want to improve your social skills. And, I assume that means have some friends. That's another amazing goal. You want to work on your dating life. I'm assuming that means you want a friends with benefits, or you want a girlfriend, or maybe you want a boyfriend. Like, I don't know which way you fucking swing, my brother, but you want all of these beautiful goals. You're just probably telling yourself that you either don't deserve them, or you're not good enough for them, or that they would take too long. You go on to say, I know it's going to take forever for me to be a comic book artist. Do you, Mr. Expert? Should we all just be taking advice from you? You know everything. Apparently, you know exactly how long it's going to take to be a comic book artist. You just know everything. And I'm saying that as a joke because we do this. This is how our brain works, right? We know literally nothing about something. Like, you don't know the first fucking thing about being a comic book artist because you're not a fucking comic book artist. And so we don't know anything about something. Neither do I, by the way. I don't know anything about being a comic book artist, but I guess you would say, open-minded enough to say, I don't know how long it will take you to be a comic book artist. You're the one saying, I do know that it's going to take forever. No, you fucking don't, my brother. You got no fucking clue. And you have no idea how many times someone will come to the coaching program and say, I know this goal is going to take forever. And I'm like, oh, do you? So you just know everything. Can you tell me the lottery numbers? Can you tell me like how the future's going to turn out? Why don't you just be the coach? Because you know everything. And obviously I'm joking when I say that. And they'll go, ha ha, Andy, very funny, fine. I don't know how long this is going to take. And then 2 fucking weeks later, or 1 week later, or sometimes even the next day, that person will go and achieve the goal that they said was going to take years. And they do it in like 1 week. You have no idea what you are capable of. You have no idea how powerful you are. And you have no idea how much taking little baby steps and just doing that every day or every week can really start to snowball and add up. You have no idea how close you are sometimes to that beautiful breakthrough moment where you start to have success. But to sit there at the start of your journey or early on in your journey and say, I know it's going to take forever. You don't fucking know that, brother. I have worked with enough people now where they say it's going to take forever for me to start a business. 1 month later, they've earned $5,000. And they're like, holy shit, I earned $5,000. And I'm like, yeah, you're full of shit when you say it's going to take forever. I've had people that go out that same day and earn like $500. They just land some contract, or they have something worthwhile selling, or they go out and ask a bunch of people for money and someone goes, fuck it, man. Yeah, here, have a couple of $100. Like, you have no idea how random success can be. And when I say random, I mean that in a beautiful way. But we sit there and we say, it's going to take forever. There's too much I have to do. What you're doing there is you're doing what I call looking at the mountain and getting yourself overwhelmed. I did a video on this on my channel. Just search for the word mountain and you'll see this video here. Stop looking at the mountain. And I talk about how we freak ourselves out because we're so busy looking at this big, massive mountain. The mountain represents our goals. And we get freaked out by our goals. And we're like, I can't possibly climb that mountain. That's like Mount Everest. I can't become a comic book artist. Yeah, brother, do you know how many hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of comic book artists there are out there, or essentially just any type of artist? It is such a huge industry. And yet you're sort of making it sound like it's some impossible thing. Look at what I've fucking built, my brother. A sex and dating business that I started, or I started it slightly before COVID. During a global fucking pandemic, that was when I was really starting to build my business, a sex and dating business. During a several years long pandemic where lots of the world just didn't go out and all the dating apps were like, you can't meet anyone in person. You're only allowed to have a date on fucking Zoom or some shit like that. I built this. I obviously had help to build this, and that's why I said accountability can really help you. Having a support network can really help you. But if I can build a sex and dating business during a pandemic, for fuck's sakes, you can definitely be a comic book artist or any type of artist. My girlfriend, Emmy, does art. And for the longest time, brother, she said the same stuff as you. It's going to take forever to be an artist. I see all these other artists on Instagram and they can't possibly, or they're so amazing and I can't possibly compete with them. I'm never going to be what they are. And she finally started actually putting herself out there and actually trying and applying to some art galleries and applying to some competitions and stuff like that. In other words, she finally stopped listening to her limiting beliefs and she finally actually started trying. This was about a year ago. She won a $6,000 art prize because she finally decided to start putting herself out there and stop believing that it was going to take forever to become an artist and that she wasn't good enough and that everyone else was better than her and she could never make it. Here's her winning a prize more recently, $200 for another art competition. And so my point here, my brother, is you are having these sort of doubts and you're overwhelming yourself and you're saying it's going to take forever to get there to be a comic book artist. Bro, start with little baby steps. If you're already drawing, amazing. Do something like a 365-day project like I'm in the middle of right now, where you draw something every single day, just like a 5-minute sketch or a 10-minute sketch, or take longer if you want to, but start drawing more and more and more. Start filling out entire comic books. But you do that, as you know, one fucking panel at a time. But you're stressing yourself out and saying, man, I have to make it as a comic book artist. Not only do I have to do entire comic books all by myself, but then I have to put my work out there. Then I have to get recognized. Then I have to become famous. Then I have to make enough money from it. Then I have to pay the bills from it. Bro, you're stressing yourself out. You start with one tiny little baby step, which is I'll just start drawing more. And every day I'll try and draw a little bit more than I did the day before. That's it. And then I will start by trying to earn $1 from my comic books. This is literally what I do for everyone in my coaching program. When they say, I want to start a business, I say, great, your first mission is to earn $1. It's not to build a business and pay the bills and make it big and all of that. That's too much. You're going to stress yourself out. Start with $1 fucking dollar and we'll build up from there. If you go onto my channel, one of my recent videos from a month ago is called This is How You Start a Business, His First Dollar. And I literally talked about how one of my coaching clients just started earning his first, or how he earned his first $1. And then from there, you start building up. By the way, there's also a similar video that Emmy and I recorded. This one here called We Earned $40,000 This Month. Here's how. And as we talk about in that video, we had no idea what we were doing at the start, my brother. We didn't know how to build a fucking business. We didn't know how to help people. That wasn't the mission. My first mission was to earn $1 from my content. And then I did that. And then we built up from there. And we talk about that in this video. You know, we give all these tips of how to earn more money or how to build a $40,000 a month business. You literally start by earning $1 and building up from there. But again, I think you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, my brother. You're saying you have to have life figured out. You know, you have to stop being insecure about life. You have to know exactly how to live it. You know, you have to get over the guilt of being a college dropout. You have to be a perfect brother to your younger brother. You have to change his entire fucking life and be there for him. You have to get good with your social skills. You have to be amazing with the dating life. You know, you have to know what your main goals are. You have to stop feeling lost. You have to know what you want to do and just go for it. You have to become a comic book artist. It can't take very long, or it can't take forever. You have to be quick at it. You know, just all this fucking pressure, man. As I read this, I can see the pressure you're putting on yourself, brother, and that must be a very stressful way to live. But what do we say on this channel all the time, my man? Give yourself permission to suck. You're not doing that with anything in this post. You've, I guess, given yourself permission to suck with sharing all of this with us, which, good job. This was your first courageous, amazing step into working through this stuff. But the next step is to take that pressure off, brother, and give yourself permission to suck. If it takes you a long time to become a comic book artist, who gives a fuck? It'll be fun. It'll be a beautiful journey that you get to be grateful for every single step along the way. It took me, one could say, quite a long time to get to this point. I have done 1,700 pieces of content across all of my different platforms. That's a lot of content. I've averaged more than one piece of content every single day for the last 4 years to get to this point of having a $40,000 a month, $40,000 a month. And so it might take a bit of time, brother, but you can enjoy every step of that journey. The way that I got here is by giving myself permission to suck. I didn't tell myself I had to build a big, successful fucking business. I wouldn't have started. I didn't tell myself I had to change everybody's life. I wouldn't have started. That would have overwhelmed me. I just told myself that I was going to speak from the heart and start by writing some shitty articles. And do you know what my very first article that I ever wrote was? This, my brother, this was the first article I ever wrote. Give yourself permission to suck, because I, just like you, was putting all this pressure on myself that I had to do a good job of this blog, that I had to start helping people, that I had to start changing people's lives right from the beginning. And I procrastinated for weeks. And so finally I gave myself this little challenge. I said, right, Andy, you have to write one article in 1 hour. And that is the time that I started. It was like 9:37 p.m. And then I wrote this article. I literally wrote all this. And then you can see down the bottom, 10:13 p.m. So, you know, it only took me about like 30 or 40 minutes. And this was the first article that I ever wrote. That was what I started with. And then from there, I built everything that came after that. But I gave myself permission to suck, brother, which is what I'm gently encouraging you to do with yourself. So what if you take some of this pressure off yourself that you have to have your life together, that you have to be perfect, that you have to have your shit together? And what if you start just slowly working on becoming someone that does a little bit more comic book art? And you can figure out how to make money from it later on, or you can start figuring out how to make money from it right now if you want to. If you want my help with that, I'm very happy to coach you. But start earning your first dollar right now if you want to, or just start drawing a little bit more if you want to. Same with your brother. You don't have to sit there and know how you're going to change his fucking life. Oh my God, what a huge amount of pressure. You can just start that list of 50 things that I have to offer my younger brother and start slowly adding to that over time. You could take the next 2 years to come up with 50 things. You know, your brother's going to age relatively slowly. 2 years is not as long as you think. And so take the next 2 years figuring out how you can help him. Also, I say this in content time and time again, brother, you're putting all this pressure on yourself that you should just somehow know what your younger brother needs. I don't know what any of you need. I don't. That's why I ask. You posted this comment because rather than me just assuming what you need, I said, what are you struggling with? Tell me. And what I do in my coaching program all the time is I say, what would you like from me? How can I help you? How can I serve you? What would you need? What would you like? What would you like from the coaching program? How can we be there for you? I don't just fucking put pressure on myself that I have to know what would help people. So the same with your younger brother. What if you go to him? I don't know how old he is. Is he 2 years old? By the way, it's really hard to tell from your post, but even if he's fucking 2 years old, go to him and say, what would you like from me? How can I make your life better? And he'll probably go, I want ice cream. And you go, okay, cool. Like, I can get you some ice cream. Sweet. You give him ice cream and he's happy. And you're like, holy shit, I gave him what he wanted. Or if he's older than, 2 years old, what would you like from me? He's like, I don't know, older brother. Can I talk to you? Will you listen to me? Beautiful. I can listen to you. I can sit here and listen to you. So ask him. Stop putting this pressure on yourself that you have to just know what your younger bro is going to need. So yeah, man, like the main takeaway here is you don't have to keep putting this insane pressure on yourself. You're doing a really good job, brother. The fact that you opened up to all of us about this, amazing. And now it's just doing some of the stuff that I talked about. Like I said, if you want more help with this, I'm happy for you to be in the coaching program, or I'm happy to do one of those $200 coaching calls with you. I can obviously get far more into detail with all of this if you talk to me, if we get to go back and forwards. But if not, brother, then get some accountability partners. And I promise you're doing a good job. Just take some of that pressure off yourself. You're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and that's okay. A lot of people do, my man. But yeah, take some of that pressure off. Give yourself that permission to suck that we talk about all the time, and then just take some baby steps towards your goals every day. You've been putting this insane pressure on yourself that you have to suddenly become a comic book artist. It's going to take forever. Oh my God, look at how much I have to do. Bro, humble yourself enough to just look at the next baby step that you have to do, and try not to look too much further ahead than that, because you'll probably overwhelm yourself. It's okay to look into the future sometimes, but you don't want to live there. It's like that saying, the future is a nice place to visit, but you probably don't want to live there. Same goes for the past. The past can be a nice place to visit, but you probably don't want to be living in the past all the time. So take some of that pressure off, brother. I promise you're doing a good job. All right, let's jump into the second one. Hi, Andy. I am a 39-year-old male virgin, and I hate that about me. I beat myself up for it physically. I can't accept the fact. Okay, so I'm going to stop reading. I can't accept the fact. Yes, you can. You're choosing not to, and we'll get into that in a second. But the word can't is something that you can that I recommend all of you, as best you can, remove from your vocabulary. There is no such thing as can't. There is only I am choosing not to, and you don't have to feel guilt or shame about choosing not to. That's kind of my point here. Own that decision. If you don't want to do something, then say, I don't want to do that. I'm choosing not to do that. I'm not going to do that, rather than I can't do that. Because when we say I can't, we are telling ourselves that we are the victim. We make ourselves feel hopeless and helpless and unempowered or disempowered. We feel disenfranchised. We feel like it's not fair. And we feel like we're stuck. We feel very hopeless. But if you take ownership of it and say, I'm choosing right now to hold on to the fact that I missed out on all the experiences of having a romantic partner, which you are. You are holding on to it. Why are you holding on to it? It's not because you're stupid. It's not because you're dumb. It's not because you're broken. It's not because you're a loser. It's none of that stuff. You're holding on to it for a variety of different reasons. Now, it would be up to you to figure out what some of those reasons are. And you can kind of, in a very non-judgmental way, say to yourself, okay, why am I holding on to the fact that I missed out on some experiences of having a romantic partner? Why am I clinging on to that so desperately? I can give you some suggestions or some ideas of what it might be. You know, having worked with a lot of people at this point that are your age and virgins or very inexperienced, I can give you some suggestions and brainstorm about what it might be, but it's up to you to figure out what it actually is. So let's brainstorm a little bit of why you might be holding on to having missed out of these, you know, experiences, and why you're holding on to being a virgin. Number one, it probably keeps you somewhat complacent. And you might say, I don't want to be complacent. Yeah, but there's a payoff with being complacent. If we say, you know, I've missed out, we're essentially saying, I don't have to go outside where it can be quite scary and hit on lots of women. I don't have to go on a bunch of dates and be like, hey, how's it going? Like, would you like to come back to my apartment? I don't have to make a move, which can be scary, and we're worried about getting rejected. It means that you get to some extent, have a sexy little story of victimhood. And that might sound like a funny way of phrasing it, but we get a payoff, we all do, myself included, in calling ourselves a victim. If we say, you know, as you go on to say, I can't get, you know, all of that is never enough for a girl to fall for me. We get some sympathy when we have a story of victimhood. We also get to feel like the center of attention. We get to some extent, feel like we're special, which might sound weird because we're telling a story of how we're not special and how we're so fucked up and it's not fair and why is all this shit happening to me, blah, blah, blah. And in doing so, we're basically saying, I'm different. And the ego, like our ego, our brain, doesn't care whether or not we say I'm different in a good way or I'm different in a bad way. The ego just likes to be different or likes to be special. And so you've told a story here of how special you are. You know, you're the 39-year-old male virgin that's so special. You beat yourself up for it because you're so fucked up and you're more fucked up than anyone else. That means that you're special in a bad way. Like, I'm special because I'm so fucked up, but we get a payoff from that. It's a very weird part, or an interesting part of the human psyche, that our ego or our brain likes to be the center of attention. It likes to be the victim. It gets something out of being a victim. It gets something out of saying, I can't. You know, it's a big like theatrical play. It's a big drama of going, I can't fix this. I've missed out. Oh, woe is me. I've missed out. Why, God? Why have you forsaken me? Why, universe? Why am I cursed to never have a woman fall in love with me? Like, it's very dramatic and we get a big payoff. And I'm not saying that you are doing that intentionally. You probably don't realize that you've been doing that. Most people don't. And by the way, I spent a lot of my life being the victim. I spent a lot of my life saying it's not fair, I'm extra fucked up, I'm a loser. You know, I got to 28 years old and I felt I had no direction in my life whatsoever. I felt completely depressed all over again after already having gone through 8 years of depression when I was young, after having gone to prison, all of that. And I was very tempted, and I did tell myself that I was the victim. Why? Because I get sympathy out of that, because it's a drama, because it's an emotionally charged statement to say, all of that is never enough for a girl to fall for me. And again, I'm not saying that you're doing this intentionally, but that's the mechanism behind why you say, I can't accept the fact. You can accept the fact, but you're currently getting a payoff from not accepting the fact. You are getting something out of it. It is serving a purpose for you. Now, you might not want that purpose. You probably want to let go of the past to some extent. But right now, like, if you came to me for coaching, or you writing this comment here to me and, you know, I'm going to give you some advice and some help and some love, whenever I hear the word I can't, what that speaks to me is two things. It means I'm unwilling, and you might be willing in the future, but right now in this moment, you are unwilling to let go of, and you might not know that, but you're clinging on to, and so you're unwilling to let go of the past and move forward and take some action. And it also tells me that there's a little bit of room for improvement there when it comes to humility, because the person who says, I can't accept this fact, is not humble enough or not ready to be humbled yet to say, you know what, maybe the reason that I don't have or haven't had sex is because I've been the one that's been holding me back. You go on to say, I'm 6'7" tall. I have a normal body. I dress well, good hygiene, smell good, full hair. I'm not stupid, so you're intelligent. I'm a classically trained music composer. I work a regular job in a hospital. My bro, you are literally top 0.01%. That is a catch and a half, brother. That is like so much stuff that I don't even have. Like, holy fuck, my man. There are so many women that would just fall over themselves for you. And so the fact that you haven't had sex at this point at 39 years old, it might be time to have the humility to accept that it is because of you. And not because you've done anything wrong, not because there's anything wrong with you, but because you have gotten something out of this story of being a 39-year-old male virgin. That has a payoff. You're almost the 40-year-old virgin, and they made a fucking movie about that, didn't they? Steve Carell, it's actually quite a funny movie. I love that movie. But you're 1 year away from being fucking 40-year-old male virgin. There's a big ego payoff with that. And you might say, no, there's not. I fucking hate it. Andy, I hate that about myself. I beat myself up for that physically. Yeah, that's the cycle of self-abuse and weird ego payoff from beating yourself up for something that you hate in yourself. The real way out of this cycle, my brother, the real way to lose your virginity and have some great experiences and let women in, because right now you're not letting them in, whether or not you realize that or not. But the way out of this cycle is to let go of the guilt tripping and the beating yourself up. You have essentially fallen into the cycle, the vicious cycle, the suffering cycle, the unfun cycle of beating yourself up, then feeling guilty for it. So then you beat yourself up more, and then you don't lose your virginity, and then you hate yourself and you beat yourself up more. It's basically that you have fallen into an abusive relationship with yourself. And anyone that's in an abusive relationship, you know, I was in a couple when I was younger. Anyone that's in a violent or abusive relationship, or a verbally abusive, or, you know, like a bullying relationship, will tell you that there's a payoff from being bullied and then beating yourself up and all of that. It's like this weird sort of Stockholm syndrome that you can sometimes get, where you're stuck, or you feel like you're stuck in that cycle. You feel like you're stuck with the abuse. You don't have the self-esteem enough to choose to leave it because you're getting something out of staying. Even though that seems like a really strange statement, why would someone stay in an abusive, pain-filled relationship? Because they don't believe that they're good enough to leave, which is something that you don't believe. You don't believe you're good enough to stop beating yourself up. And there is a payoff with it. Every time you beat yourself up, there's this weird fucking ego thing inside of us that goes, yeah, there's justice in the world. I am a fucking loser. I should beat myself up, especially physically. That's what I deserve. It's almost like this weird judge, jury, and executioner that goes, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a loser fucking 39-year-old male virgin. I should beat myself up. That would mean that there's justice in the world. A loser like me deserves to feel shit. That's what you believe. That's what the core of your brain, the core of your ego believes, that you deserve punishment for being a virgin, even though all that being a virgin says about you is you just haven't stuck your penis in a vagina. If you really just wanted to actually let go of that label, if you were really ready to let go of that label, you would go and pay an escort $500. You can pay them less than that, but go pay an escort $500. You'd stick the penis in the vagina. You'd be rid of the label. You'd go, oh, that wasn't that difficult. Cool. Now I'm not a virgin. The fact that you're a virgin at 39 years old, and this might require some humility to accept about yourself, because your ego might want to fight me on this. You might want to be like, Andy, you're wrong. You don't know anything about me. But it is worth taking a deep breath, maybe going and sitting on a rock somewhere or sitting in a park and just thinking about this. At 39 years old, as a 6'7" tall, normal dressed or normal body, dressed well, good hygiene, smells good, full hair, intelligent, classically trained music composer who works in a fucking hospital, there are millions of women out there who would have sex with you. And I think part of you knows that. It's just that you don't believe that you deserve that. That is why you're a virgin at 39 years old. Again, if you wanted to get rid of the label, you say, I hate that I am a virgin. If you really hated it that much, which I'm sure you do hate it, but if you were willing and humble enough and ready, you might not be ready yet. Everything I say to you might fall on deaf ears. But if you were ready and you were willing, you would go and pay an escort $500 and you'd be done. Or you'd go on the dating apps and you'd be like, hey, you know, I'm just looking to put myself out there. You go on a bunch of dates with women. You'd go on like 5 dates with her because you're really nervous and you're scared to make a move. And you'd finally work up the courage to be honest and be like, hey, I'm a virgin. Like, you know, is it okay if we go gently my first time? And she'd be like, yeah, that's cool. You know, you're a fucking classically trained music composer who's 6'7" and handsome and intelligent. yeah, I'm willing to fucking be patient with you because you're a fucking catch. And then you guys would push your bits together and you'd lose your virginity. At 39 years old, my friend, my beautiful friend, the reason that you're a virgin is because you are choosing not to, and you probably don't know that, but you're choosing not to get over the fact or move past the fact or let go of the fact that you missed out on the experience of having a romantic partner. You are, or you feel stuck with that. You're so fucking attached to that that you're not willing or ready to, and at some point you might be ready to, let go of that and actually move forward with a woman. Again, I cannot make it any more clear that you are an incredible catch, and yet you blame women or you blame the universe and you make yourself the victim with statements like, anyway, all of that was never enough for a girl to fall for me. Bro, I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that have already fallen in love with you. You just said you're not good enough for them. You probably pushed them away. And I'm sure if you are honest and you get out a big piece of paper and write down, like, go through the history of your 39 years on this earth, maybe, since you were 18. So the last 21 years since you became 18, go through all of that and write down how many women you think paid attention to, like, gave you attention or gave you some indication that they were really into you, or maybe went on a date with you, or maybe flirted with you, or maybe seemed to spend all of their time hanging around you at work or, at a party, or they were asking their friends, hey, do you know if this guy is single? Like, he's a classically trained music composer and he's attractive and he's 6'7". Do you know if he's single? Like, write them all down on a piece of paper. And every single person I have ever gotten to do this, every person that's a virgin late in their life, I get them to do this and they go, holy shit, Andy, there's like 30 or 40 women that if I'm actually honest and humble enough to admit, there's like 30 or so women in my life that have made it really obvious that they liked me, but I didn't think that they would want to be with me, so I didn't make a move. Or they made a move and I rejected them. I rejected them while simultaneously saying, none of that was never enough for a girl to fall in love with me. And so we get very stuck on our stories, don't we? And again, to be very clear, my brother, I have done stuff like this too. This is not just you. You are not the first male virgin, in his 30s, almost in his 40s, who gets stuck on that label and that feeling of like, I'm a virgin, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to be able to lose it. In fact, if you have a look, my friend, I just did a couple of videos recently about this, my friend. Look, this one here, I'm a loser, a virgin with no friends. This guy feels very much the same as you. This one here, I feel so alone, like nobody cares about me. This guy feels somewhat like you. You said, no woman will ever fall in love with me. I've never been able to get a woman to fall in love with me. Bro, why are we talking about love? Like, yes, love is wonderful. That's amazing. But you're mixing up, I need to get a girl to fall in love with me. I thought you said what you're unhappy about and what you beat yourself up about is that you're a virgin. Just go stick your penis in a vagina, make sure it's consensual, and then you're not a virgin. But you're now moving the goalposts and saying, I have to get a woman to fall in love with me. No, you said that the thing you're stuck on is losing your virginity. Again, you go and pay an escort a couple $100 and lose that right now. Anyway, other people that feel exactly the same way as you. This guy here who went on 500 dates, or 500 approaches, sorry. He went on a bunch of dates and didn't get any second dates. And so he feels the same as you. He's like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe women will never like me. Lots of people feel the same way as you, my friend. And I point that out to you to show you that you're really not that special. Again, everything that you're getting out of the label of, I'm a 39-year-old male virgin, you literally called it a label. You literally said, hi, Andy, I am a, and then you said the label. That's like saying, hi, I am a white male. Hi, I am a musician. You didn't start by saying, hi, Andy, I am a classically trained music composer. Hi, Andy, I am a 6'7", attractive, handsome, interesting, intelligent guy. You led with my label that I am stuck on, that I am holding on to for dear life because it brings me a lot. It has a big payoff. I get sympathy, I get self-hatred, I get to get stuck in the victim mindset, which again gives us a big payoff. It feels fucking good to be a victim, even though we cry out and, like you are. I'm not saying that you're crying, but like we cry out and say, it's not fair. I hate being a virgin. I hate this label. I hate being the victim. It's not fair. I can never get a woman to fall for me. But we secretly get a little payoff. Our ego gets a payoff. Again, we get to feel special. We get to feel like we're stuck in a big drama, like it's not fair. We get complacency. If we get to say, I am a 39-year-old male virgin, that stops us from having to go outside and talk to a couple of hundred women, which can be very scary. That's why I talk about baby steps. If we say, I am a 39-year-old male virgin, that stops you from having to open up your heart. there's probably something there that you're holding back, you know, a fear of rejection, a fear of not being good enough. It's very clear you already think you're not good enough. You're afraid that women will say that same thing back to you. You're very afraid of being, or I'm guessing, you're very afraid of being vulnerable and putting yourself out there for fear of them saying, yeah, you're not good enough. You're a 39-year-old male virgin. That's disgusting. And so because you judge yourself, and you beat yourself up physically, you then hold back from putting yourself out there and taking those risks and being vulnerable and talking to lots of women and being open and honest and, yeah, risking some rejection, risking looking a little bit silly, risking having some of them say, hey, I'm not interested in you. I don't want to go on a date with you, or I don't want to go on a second date with you. And so it can be protective. Like, understand that this label of I am a 39-year-old male virgin is just you trying to protect yourself, my brother. And I hope everything that I've said in the podcast up until this point hasn't sounded like I'm attacking you, because that's not the intention here. But I understand fully that this is a very protective thing for you. You might not even understand that yourself, but I've been doing this for long enough to know that the label, I'm a 39-year-old male virgin, or just I'm a virgin and I'm stuck and I can't, you know, it's not fair and no women will give me what I want, and, you know, women are doing this to me, or the universe is doing this to me, that's protective. It stops us being hurt, because yes, my friend, you are going to need to open up a little bit to some women if you're going to have sex, unless you do what I said and just go fuck a virgin, go out and fuck an escort. But you might not even want to do that. And by the way, you don't have to do whatever you want, but you are right now being protected by this story you have that the universe doesn't want to give me what I want. I'm so handsome and intelligent and all of this stuff, and yet why, oh why can't a woman fall in love with me? Brother, there are so many women that would fall in love with you if you would just give them the chance to get to know you, but you're probably holding back a lot, and you've probably held back for the last 21 years out of fear. You know, out of being stuck on this story of I've missed out on experiences. I've missed out on having a romantic partner. If you have missed out, which, yeah, fair enough. Like, you can say I've missed out. If that really is true and you have missed out, then wouldn't now be the perfect time to start giving yourself that beautiful gift of these romantic partners and these beautiful experiences? If you've missed out on something, why would you want to perpetuate that? And that's kind of what it sounds like you've been doing for 21 years now, my friend. Like, you've been stuck on this missing out that you've had. You've been stuck on this pain of like, fuck, man, everyone else is having boyfriends and girlfriends, and I get triggered and I beat myself up and I'm unable to achieve that. And why do they get that and all of that? You're getting very stuck in that, and you're just perpetuating the cycle of self-abuse, really. And that's okay. Lots of people abuse themselves, my friend. Lots of people hurt themselves. I've had plenty of times in my life where I hurt myself too. You are certainly not alone in that. But why would you want to keep that cycle going? You know, again, there's a payoff for you keeping that cycle going. Imagine how fucking cool it would be. It wouldn't be cool, but imagine the ego payoff you would get from if you did this for another 11 years. Imagine you get to say, I'm a 50-year-old virgin. It's not fair. The universe is unkind. Why has it done this to me? Women are bitches. And you haven't said that, but like, you might say that if you're a 50-year-old male virgin. Women are mean. Why won't they fall in love with me? Why won't they give me what they want? God damn you, women. Curse you, God. Like, you'd get a big payoff from making it to 50. Imagine if you made it to 60. Being a virgin. Imagine if you made it to 70 or 80. Holy shit, you could be like the grumpiest old man ever. You just walk around the streets being a fucking dick to everybody. Just being like, get out of my way. Fuck you. I'm a virgin. Like, fuck all of you. I hate the world. Man, you get a payoff from that. You get to feel like you're right. And there's a quote from David Hawkins, one of my favorite people, that I think is very applicable here, my friend, which is the ego, like our brain. The ego would often rather be right than be happy. And you right now are getting a very big payoff from saying that you're right. You know, I can't accept the fact that I missed out on all the experiences. Are you right about that? Are you sure? Is it true that you can't accept that? I think part of you knows that you could accept that if you really, really, really wanted to. If you really wanted to accept the fact that you missed out, don't you think you could? Do you know how many fucking feelings of missing out I could have had? I went to prison, motherfucker. I could have spent that entire time going, I'm missing out on freedom. I'm missing out on this. I'm missing out on that. I was depressed and suicidal for like 8 or 9 years. I missed out on all of high school experience. I missed out on the college experience. I then went to prison. I could say, man, I missed out on all of that. I then wasn't until I was like 28 that I started getting my life together. I could say I missed out on all of that. I could quite easily say that. Do you know how many guys in their 30s I've worked with who are virgins that could say, I missed out on this experience? And yet, that would be a true story. Sure, they missed out, yes. But they don't get stuck on it. Or they get stuck on it a little bit, but they're ready and willing to start the process of letting that go. The fact that you say, I can't accept that, is you trying to be right. You want very desperately to be right about that. Because the truth is, and if you had some humility, and I'm not saying, by the way, that you don't have humility, but in this particular circumstance, if you had humility about this, in this one particular circumstance, you would say, yeah, okay, fine. I guess maybe I'm scared to let go of that. That would be the truth. That would be you being honest and having integrity. And I'm not saying that you don't have integrity, but in this one case, that would be a statement of integrity to say, I'm scared to let go of missing out on those romantic experiences. That's what I'm scared of. I know I could let go of it, but it's scary to let go of it. Because then if I let go of it, I have to accept the fact that I could have let go of this earlier. And that can be painful to face. The ego doesn't want to face that. Our brain doesn't want to face that. The fact that you could have let this go 10 years ago, oh boy, that's probably a lot to deal with. I would struggle to deal with that too, my brother. That's why another part of the reason why you hold on to this story of like, I can't change this. It's not fair. Like everything's good about me, but yet women won't fall for me. Because if you let that story go, yes, you will need to face the fact that you could have let it go earlier. And now we can be kind to you in that moment and say, if you could have let go of it earlier, you would have. You just weren't ready. You weren't at the point where you were ready to let go of that. And that's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up for that. But it's quite confronting to admit, I could have done this earlier. That's what I went through when I finally got help, because my life fell apart and I kind of had to get help. And then I got arrested. Like I had to get help. When I finally got some help for my own depression and my suicidal ideations and all of that, yeah, I had that same regret. I had that same big, scary feeling of like, holy fuck, why didn't I just tell my parents I was depressed when I was 14? When I first started thinking of suicide, which was when I was 14, why didn't I just tell them? I could have told them. I could have just said, I'm having some scary thoughts. I feel very alone. I feel sad. I feel depressed and I don't know if it'll get better. I could have said that to my parents, and God knows they asked me a lot of times because they weren't fucking stupid. They could tell that I was not happy. They could tell that I was fucking depressed and that I started spending less and less time with my friends, that I started spending more and more time isolated, that I started getting more and more dark in myself. They could tell. And so I had a lot of times I could have said something to them and said, hey, I'm not happy. Can you please help me? That was hard for me to face. That might be a little bit of a challenge for you to face as well, to admit, holy fuck, I could have just gone and seen an escort when I was like 25. That was like 15 years ago. Holy shit. Or I could have just dated any of the girls that liked me because I'm 6'7" tall with a decent body. I dress well. I have good hygiene. I smell good. I have full hair. I'm intelligent. I'm a classically trained music composer with a job in a hospital. Yeah, there were going to be women that are interested in me. Of course there were. I know there were. If I'm honest, I know there were women that were interested in me. I could have just hooked up with any of them. Holy fuck, man. I could have lost my virginity in my 20s. Fuck. Or I could have lost them in my 30s. There's still time for you, brother. Right now, you could let go of this virginity thing that you're stuck with or that you're stuck holding on to. You could let go of it now before you turn 40. Wouldn't that be a beautiful birthday gift to give yourself by the time you're 40? Go and see an escort or go and date any of the women that will be lining up to meet you if you will let them, if you will give them the opportunity to get to know you without some of that shame and self-hatred in the way. And you can have that shame and self-hatred. That's fine. You don't have to get rid of all of it right away, but start working through and start letting go some of it. So I guess I will add in, I haven't said this yet, but you're doing an amazing job to be this fucking courageous, by the way. I can't imagine being a 39-year-old or being 39 years old and being a virgin. I'm trying not to use it as a label here. You're the one that wants to use it as a label. I can't imagine not having had sex at 39 and then admitting this to strangers on the internet. This is incredibly fucking brave of you, my man. This is amazing. But let's start working through, or I'd love to see you starting to work through why you're holding on to that label, why you're holding on to your virginity, why you're not letting go of the fact that you missed out on some past experiences. The past is gone, my brother. We only have this moment right now. You're getting something out of clinging on to that past. And when I say that, You don't have to feel ashamed about that. You don't have to guilt trip yourself and beat yourself up even more and say, fuck, man, like, why am I holding on to this label? What's wrong with me? It's like, no, dude, get out a piece of paper, start brainstorming, and ask in a very non-judgmental way, why am I hanging on to this label? Why am I not accepting the fact that I missed out on having all these experiences? Why am I clinging to this? Like, what purpose is this serving me? It must be serving me a purpose, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. You know, it probably is keeping you complacent. It's keeping you from opening up. It's saving you from rejection. It's saving you from doing the work. Like, it can take work. It's probably going to, I'll be honest with you, it's probably going to take you a fair bit of work. As a 39-year-old guy who hasn't had sex, it will probably take you a decent amount of work. Probably will. Like, let's be honest, yeah. Unless you go out and see an escort, you could do that today. But if you want to do it through normal dating, either online dating or in person, it might take you a little bit of work, bro. You might have to deal with the fact that you haven't done it yet and that you've waited until you're 39 to start working on it, you know, really hardcore and really seriously. Yeah, that might bring up some feelings of guilt and shame and what's wrong with me? Why did I wait this long? That's probably quite scary to face. So that's probably yet another reason why you haven't faced it yet, or why you've only just started facing it, because yeah, that's probably a lot to face. Obviously, I'm very fucking happy to coach you through that. I highly recommend, by the way, that you either do coaching with me or someone else, or therapy if you're not already doing that. But brother, like, this is going to take some sort of other accountability. Like, you're not going to do this on your own, I don't think. Like, I just say that to everyone with all of their goals. Brother, like, you're playing on fucking nightmare mode if you try and do this by yourself. I'm very happy to coach you. I really fucking encourage you to join the coaching program. I normally don't push people that hard, but like, fucking hell, man. Like, pay me and we would just solve this. Like, this would just get solved, I promise. Or go and see a therapist, or get some friends and get some accountability partners and open up to them and say, I haven't lost my virginity. I beat myself up for it. I get jealous of you guys and you girls. Can you guys help me? Or can you girls help me? Like, can I have some accountability? Because I don't think I'm strong enough to do this on my own. I think I have too much emotional pain, too much not bad habits, too much habits, like habitual beating myself up and all of that. You're probably not going to overcome that on your own, brother. So get someone to help you. But to really underline it again, you've done an amazing job of opening up here. Start non-judgmentally asking yourself what it is that you're still clinging on to, what you're getting out of this label of a 39-year-old male version. And, you know, spoiler alert, it's almost always you're saving yourself from heartbreak, you're saving yourself from rejection, you're saving yourself from failure, you're saving yourself from having to face the fact that you haven't done this earlier. You get a little bit of victimhood out of it, even if you say you don't want that. We all secretly kind of crave that. Even I like to be the victim sometimes. We all secretly love that. You get sympathy from that. You get attention. You get some drama. You get to tell yourself that you're special because the universe hates you and women won't give you a chance and all of that. That makes you feel a little bit special in a weird backwards way, but we get that out of it. So yeah, start asking yourself those questions non-judgmentally. But you've done a really beautiful job to open up here, my brother. But yeah, dude, like, this is not something, to be very clear, this is not something I'm going to solve in a fucking video for a YouTube comment. If you want my help with this properly, I am very, very happy to have you in the coaching program. I promise you, everyone will be incredibly non-judgmental, very loving. We have guys in there right now who are in their 30s and virgins. Well, one of them lost his virginity, but he's 30. And I've worked with so many 30-something-year-olds who are virgins. So you would be very welcome. You would be very loved. We would look after you. We would be kind to you. We would be patient and gentle with you. We would help you. I really just fucking, like, why don't you just do that, dude? I don't know where you're at with money, but like, why don't you just give yourself that gift before you turn 40? Again, this is like one of the few times I'll really push my coaching program, and you're welcome to do whatever you want. You don't have to take me up on this, but dude, like, you are the exact person that I would say, bro, just join the coaching program and solve this problem. We have payment plans. I'll work with you and figure out a payment plan that works for you. But bro, like, you're playing on nightmare mode trying to do this by yourself. So the coaching program is there if you want it. Yeah, I don't know what more to say to you other than that, my brother. I can't help you that much more than I already have in a YouTube comment video or a video for a YouTube comment, brother. Like, I can send you all the love. Everyone in the comments, like, let's give this guy some love. Everyone in the comments, you know, as much as we can, let's tell him that he's, you know, doing a decent job, that we believe that he can lose this. We believe that he can let go of his attachment. But outside of that, brother, like, yeah, I can't do much more than that, dude. I'm very happy to coach you. But if you don't want that, at least get someone else to help you, my brother. So good job opening up. Good job for both of these people for opening up. I still have a whole bunch of your questions to go through. I think I have about another 10 or 11 of you to answer. So I'll do that over the next week or two. I'm trying to cram as much of these in every day and trying to record as many of these as I can every day. But they do kind of take it out of me a little bit, I'll be honest. You know, some of these go for like an hour or two. And then on top of that, I'm doing my own regular coaching. So I'm a little bit tired, but I will get through all of your questions, all of your comments, all of your struggles. I really appreciate and admire all of you for opening up. You are doing an amazing job, all of you. And both of you today, I tell you what, especially the second, you know, the guy that I just, you know, this guy here, Ascending, bro, you've both done such a good job, but you know, you especially as a 39-year-old guy who hasn't had sex, bro, really fucking good job opening up about this, man. I can't imagine that this was super easy to admit to me and the rest of the internet. You've done a really fucking good job, bro. That courage that you've just shown in even opening up to all of us, show that same courage or that same gift of love to yourself and just start putting yourself out there just a tiny bit, my brother. Just start talking to some women. You have so much to offer them. You have so much that you can give them to make their life a little bit better. And they would love to meet you. They would love to fall in love with you. They would love to have sex with you. But you are going to have to be a little bit open and vulnerable and honest. And that's going to be a little bit scary, or it might be a bit scary. That's okay. You know, I'm happy to hold your hand through that. But bro, you know, put yourself out there. I promise you, there are lots of women out there that would fall in love with you. You just haven't really given them the chance to get to know you properly. You know, without the fucking walls in the way, without those defense mechanisms, without that feeling of like, I'm not good enough, I can't let her in, I can't show her my true self, I can't spend too much time with her or she'll get to know the real me and she'll reject the real me. As best as you can, start trying to let go of just a little bit of that stuff. And I promise if you let women get to know the real you, some of them will fucking fall in love with you, bro. Some of them will fucking love you. You have tremendous courage to even be admitting this to all of us. You are such a courageous, lion-hearted dude. I have no doubt you have so much to offer. You just haven't been offering, or you haven't been letting people in, bro. So as best you can, I know it's scary, try and let some people in.